What's going on, guys? Welcome to mikeybalzz Fishing. I'm actually, Lake Guntersville's right there, and I just caught some fish, but I'm hanging out with my buddy Jacob Wall, and some guy saw me catch him, and I'm making sure he's not going on my spot. But Jacob, what's your Instagram real quick? FLW Pro Circuit Angler, what's your Instagram? Jacob Wall Fishing on Instagram.
And you got a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I do.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's Jacob Wall Fishing, and then, I mean, it'll pop up when you type that in, but it's like the actual name has got like a space and then a little underscore on there. I couldn't figure out how to get rid of, you're supposed to have two names. I didn't get into YouTube
This is
enough.
not a YouTube how to fix videos. We're not going to focus on that, but maybe. I don't know. Jacob Wall Fishing. Go find him. Me and Jacob have fished quite a few times out on Guntersville. We actually smashed them fishing some mats and some chatterbait fishing, and that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Jacob, you just finished up a Harris chain event and smashed them. And you like that chain as much as I kind of do. But you just showed me what you were doing with your chatterbait, fishing on that offshore grass. And it is seriously, dude, like probably one of the coolest little mods. It's a trailer mod, but it's one of the coolest mods that I've seen in a while. Would you mind kind of like showing the guys that watch my channel what you did, or show them kind of the end product and maybe explain it to them real quick?
Sure. So I'll go over like your standard deal real quick, because I've got a lot of chatterbaits in this box, and this is like standard. I've thrown this for years. This is your, you know, no surprise, it's your Yamamoto Seiko. And the cool part about this bait is it's designed to mimic the action of the chatterbait. It's supposed to swim really good. But what I like this trailer, I've caught a lot of fish on this trailer, but it's real fluid. You know, it's slower, it's more fluid. What I'm going to show you guys that Mikey's excited about here is the little easy that I cut the tail off of. So here's how it comes in the package there. You got your boot tail that normally is on there, but then I take my scissors here, and what I do is I kind of push the scissor blades right up against the boot of the tail, and then I just follow that down all the way down to where it creates a little point. So what you got is no boot tail any longer, and a little point on the end of your little easy. And just like the Seiko, the Gary Yamamoto Seiko, what this does is it swims behind the chatterbait real fluidly with the blade action, but the difference is you get a quicker action because it's a stiffer plastic. So instead of slowly swimming behind the chatterbait, it's really quick, and it mimics the exact action of the blade. So your blade is really fast, vibrating, you know, like this back and forth, and your tail of your swim bait back there, well, it's not a swim bait really anymore, but your tail back there is doing the exact same action. So if you slow down, this tail slows down. If you speed up, this tail speeds up. And what a really cool part about it is if you speed up to a certain speed, this chatterbait wants to start hunting. And it's unlike any other trailer I've ever put on a chatterbait. It doesn't just like dart out a little bit. I mean, it will hunt like 2 feet out to the side and back. And then when you slow back down, it'll catch back up with itself and run in its normal pattern. And actually, it's actually pretty amazing. I was reeling it next to the boat, watching it in practice, and you don't even have to really change the speed. And if you just constantly reel, occasionally, I don't know what it is, if it's a skirt that gets caught up in something, I'm not sure, but it will actually hunt on its own. You don't even have to change the speed. It'll just kind of jump out to the side on its own. And that's something that I just kind of discovered playing around with it. I did the regular easy swimmer on there, and I liked it, but it was pretty big. And then I know Mikey really likes the little easy. He flips it upside down. I kind of just took my own little turn on things and tried doing this with it, and I'm really excited with how that ended up working out.
So Jacob is definitely like a bait modder. If you guys go look at his YouTube or his Instagram, like he builds swim baits. Like I don't know how he does it. Like I'm okay with my hands, but this guy's like sitting there like whittling, like it's crazy. You need to go look at that. And that's probably how this evolved. But Jacob, it's kind of funny, dude. I was actually just down at the Gambler Warehouse, and I shot a video about my like go-to chatterbait trailers. And one of my favorites in cold water or when the fish are weird is like a, what do you call it, like a stick bait? Like it's a super stud and Gambler, but like a Zoom Fluke, something like that. And I love it, but I hate it, dude. But I love it for the exact reasons that you're talking about. It's that straight tail, and it on the Gambler one, it's kind of a softer plastic, so it shakes. Like it doesn't take away from the chatterbait like you're talking about, but it vibrates. But the thing that sucks about it, there's two things. One is because it's a fluke, it has that sort of cut in the body, you know? So it's not like a full plastic. So when you thread it on, you catch like 2 or 3 fish, or you rip it off a bunch of grass, it starts sliding down. And I hate super glue. You guys know that. I'll show you my swim bait clips. The other thing that I really don't like about it is it does have like a a square or a diamond shaped body, which I don't think is that big of a deal, but I like that. If you guys look, that Easy has a very circular, it's a fluid, you know, streamline. Yeah, it looks just like a regular fish. There aren't weird contours on it, and I really think that makes a difference because it allows the chatterbait to move naturally. Like really, when we're setting up a chatterbait trailer like this, it's because we don't want to add anything to the chatterbait. We want something to like super duper quiver on the back, but we don't want it to, I don't know, like take away from the chatterbait. Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah. I'm gonna steal that from him.
You need that for out there.
I know, I need that. Dude, seriously, there's like a whole pot of fish in the ditch right out there, and this guy's sitting right next to him, and I've got to like finish this video so I can get back out there. But I really agree with you, and we're in that time, dude. We're in spring, early spring. You know, and Florida's a little bit ahead, but you know, Guntersville's right here. Water temps are in the 50s. They're gonna be in the 40s by next week or so. Like that's the kind of trailer that you want. You don't want a bunch of water displacement unless it's super dirty, but like you want it to be super subtle, dude.
The other thing I didn't talk about that trailer that just kind of popped into my head about something bulkier and bigger is you create lift on your bait. So if you've got a trailer that's got a tail on there, or if it kicks, it's lifting that chatterbait up. So you end up having to slow your retreat down to keep it down in the water further. With that trailer, there's no resistance, so you can reel normal speed and it stays down in the water, and that's super key to that trailer. Keeping it down in the water column, ticking the grass, especially this time of the year, early in the season, those fish aren't like, they'll move, but they're not gonna like chase all the way up to the surface necessarily. I mean, there's occasions where they might, but for the most part, you want to tick that grass. You want to hit the tops of the grass, and you want it to pop out, and those fish are gonna crush that thing.
All right, last thing, and then we're gonna wrap this video up. Jacob, me and you kind of just got into a little bit of an argument, dude. Like, so Jacob, about, well, when did we fish last? Like 6 months ago or something? Like 8 months ago?
Yeah,
it was quite a while ago.
Yeah,
so Jacob threw his chatterbaits on Braid, and I'm like, no, Jacob, no, you gotta throw it on fluorocarbon, man. You know, super subtle, like, you know, they can't see it and all this. Well, ironically, times change, people's change. So I actually started throwing that chatterbait on Braid once again, and you switched over to the fluorocarbon. Yeah, like he's got it right there. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm liking the Braid, especially now in this early spring, just because of what Jacob just talked about, ticking the grass. Literally, these fish that I just caught out here, like I was moving the blade so I could feel it go chunk, chunk. And with that Braid, you get a lot of report. You know, there's no, no stretch. So I can feel every blade movement, and I literally am trying to not move the blade almost. Like it's still moving, but I'm trying to go so slow, and I can't really do that with fluorocarbon, maybe with 20 pound, but I don't like running like super wide diameter fluorocarbon. I'd rather run like 18 or 15. But tell me something, I want it because I can fish a little faster with the Braid and a little cleaner. I'm using 30 right now. I'm gonna go up to 40 because I've gotten some wind knots, and you kind of said you run 40 when you did it.
Yeah.
But what's the reason? So I made the change to fish it faster, to rip it off of grass better, to get a little better blade feel, and I also have started fishing on a softer rod. It's like it's a 7 foot medium heavy, but it's like it's not medium heavy. It's more like medium parabolic. Yeah. Why'd you go to the fluorocarbon, and what like rod and setup are you throwing it on?
So I opted for the fluoro for down in Florida just because a lot of the grass down there is submerged. You're not dealing with floating vegetation that's getting in the way. Here on Guntersville, if you've never fished this lake, you wouldn't really know. I mean, you hear giant bass, Guntersville Lake, but you don't understand sort of how it sets up right now, at least. Over the last few years, this lake's been taken over by eelgrass, and what that does is that eelgrass will get picked off by birds, or, you know, coots or boat motors or guys ripping a bait through there over and over again, and then it starts floating. And then you've got to deal with these little pieces of floating grass, and I will tell you, it is the most annoying thing in the world if you don't have the right stuff. And I would probably end up doing the same thing Mikey's doing, throwing Braid, because the Braid cuts through everything so much better. So for here, I agree. Water's dirtier, got floating stuff, you want to be able to get your bait through cleanly. It makes sense to throw that Braid. Down in Florida, I was fishing around a lot of guys, and so any upper edge I could get, I wanted to have, and that's why I opted for 16 pound fluoro here. You know, it's a good, you know, middle of the road. It's not real heavy, but it's, you know, heavy enough to where if I hook a really big fish and it decides to go down in the grass, I feel comfortable getting it out. And I actually like a long rod. I throw it on a 7'8", and this is a 7'8" medium heavy, but like Mikey said, this rod's more like it's honestly not a medium, but it's not a medium heavy. It's like an in-between. It's like a medium half heavy, you know? It's like right in between that medium and medium heavy. and I've got it on a 7-6 to 1, but any of those 7-7 2 to 1, 7-6 to 1, 7-4 to 1, something quicker to where I don't like having to rip really hard to get it out. I like sometimes just being able to speed the reel handle up to clear my bait, and having a quicker reel gives you that ability to do that. But I have a 1/2 ounce on here. Most of the time on Gunnersville I throw a 3/8 unless I'm fishing a little bit deeper water. But most of the time I throw that 3/8 just for that reason, being able to slow way down and keep it above the grass. It almost floats over stuff rather than driving down into it.
If you guys want more cool tips or to check out some of Jacob's like swim bait builds, which are absolutely epic, and you need to put more YouTube stuff up, dude. Where can they find you again on Instagram and YouTube?
Jacob Wall Fishing on Instagram, and then Jacob Wall Fishing on YouTube, and yeah, I'll be building that YouTube channel throughout the year. I've got so much stuff going on right now. It's hard to sit down and edit, but I enjoy it. So whenever I have the time, I'm going to do that. And I agree with Mikey. I know people would enjoy watching the process.
Oh, dude, it's seriously. I look at it on Instagram and I'm like, I want to know more. I want to know more. Jacob's a cool guy, man. He's a young kid. He made his own way. He's making a push at the pro circuit. I love that new name for the tour. But yeah, he's somebody who's driven, who's just a self-made person, and I really appreciate that, because you have to do it if you want to be a part of fishing, and if you really want to be involved, you got to make your own path. So that's super important. So give him a follow, Jacob. Daps, I'm actually gonna go try your chatterbait trip on those jokers out there, because the water time's perfect. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Check out Jacob and say hi to Bog. Bog, you want to go fishing? We're out, guys. Peace.
Yeah.